This is a podcast or something like that. Good morning, Sunday morning. Hello and welcome back to the Verbal Journal podcast. Ready for episode 11. We are about to get going with the 11th episode of the life of this podcast. So I am quite excited. I've been having a great morning / early afternoon so far here on in the post April Fool's hangover of April 2nd. I know April 2nd is often a very challenging day for a lot of people from a mental health perspective, because getting over the experience of April Fool's Day, which is just a weird holiday, where everybody's lying to you. It can be a real relief. It can also just be a little challenging to move on from the experiences of April 1st. So I welcome in all the fools and semi-fools, and thank you for rejoining the podcast here or listening to it for the first time. If that's always possible, that this could be someone's first episode that they listen to. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's hard. It would be very hard for me to say right now. I guess I would say a good thing, because I assume I've gotten better at it. And I have some interesting stuff to talk about today for sure. I mean, I'll start by saying, so yesterday I recorded the Breaking Bad script. I recorded the audio for the Breaking Bad video. That is a huge deal, because that is genuinely the hardest step in the video making process for me personally, recording the audio in every single video I do, unless it's one that's very casual and I don't care. Like, with this podcast, I don't have headphones on while I'm doing it. There are going to be mouth noises. There are going to be things I would never put in a video. Why? I don't know. Sometimes in life you choose to be neurotic and perfectionist about things, and other times you don't. There would be such a minuscule improvement to the podcast. I mean, to edit it that's just not the point. But with the videos, it is the point to make them as good as they can possibly be, for the simple fact that they're there forever. You can't tweak it. Like, in an ideal world, you'd be able to I guess I have to give YouTube credit. Like, they do have a fair bit of features in terms of editing and stuff, where you can technically just make some small edits to the video and leave it up. I'm sure there are a lot of potential issues with that, but they do offer that. But that being said, you don't want to have to do that, because it's not going to be the same type of tools that you have at your disposal when you're making the video. So there's a lot of things where, so just recording this script is the hardest part of the video, because it's not just mouth noises and stuff. Well, first of all, I don't have a pop filter for my mic, which is so foolish. So it's so it's not, I didn't set myself up for an easy time by neglecting to buy a pop filter, but so a lot of the P's and B's and some of the W's and H's and certain sounds would just pop the filter, but that's not the only reason it's hard. So while I'm recording it, I'm listening in headphones, and so there are going to be things I miss, and there are going to be small errors that will always make it into the audio recording. It's impossible to make it perfect. So it's every single line you're having to listen to yourself while you're trying to just stay relaxed and do a chill performance. And the whole reason I put time into writing the words is so people can hear them and experience them. So I want to tap into that sort of state of mind I was in when I wrote them, or just not feel like I'm reading someone else's words. I want to remember, oh yeah, I wrote these words, here's what they mean, And like, so, oh yeah, so that's the hardest. The hardest part is not the mouth noises. The hardest part is the inflections. And I don't think people understand this if they haven't done, I guess, like voiceover acting or like, voice acting or whatever. Because it's essentially like I'm doing voice acting, right? I'm just acting very boring and talking about a TV show for 2.5 hours. So it is going to be very long. So I didn't say. So I was working on this from like 9:30 until like 3:30 yesterday. Like I got up in the morning, I got to work in the booth from about 10 to 3:30. I had a break in there for lunch. It was like 5 to 5.5 hours of recording. I think I ended up with like about 4+ hours of footage, and I think that'll edit down to probably 2.5, maybe 2 hours, with the video being like 2.5 with clips. These are pure estimates, There's absolutely no way of knowing, at this point, until I edit the audio, which I won't do for a week or so. Now I have to grab all the clips, but that's a much more easy, that's tedious, but I've already marked down where most of the clips are. I just have to go and screen grab all of them. I could do other stuff at the same time, listen to podcasts. I could probably play chess at the same time. Yeah, sometimes you're just letting a clip play for like 4 minutes on the computer while you screen grab it. So I can do lots of stuff. That's nothing compared to recording the audio. Is the most like attention demanding, like it is the full amount of my being for that activity, and it takes so much work, and you still will always have mistakes that are like audible, but you just have to vibe with it. And that's, I mean, what I have to do is invest a little bit more money and get like a good recording booth, so I don't have to. But my DIY situation is good. Yeah, I recorded a little video clip too. There's gonna be a nice behind the scenes video, because this whole process that I've been making this Breaking Bad video, every now and then I'll record myself on video camera, like actually doing a stage in the process. So I did that when I was getting in the booth yesterday. And there's just going to be a lot of interesting, nice background footage that if anyone's interested, like, I mean, if you're interested enough to listen to this podcast, like, I just think for people who either make videos or would think about making videos, I think it's actually extremely helpful. Like, it's just my process, and I don't think it would work for anyone else, but you could adapt like certain things from it. And it's an easy, I pretty much show you with this behind the scenes video just for Breaking Bad. Like, I haven't like edited it or anything yet, but it's going to be pretty easy to watch it. And like, if you wanted to, you could apply it to any show you wanted. And just like, it's a very like, yeah, it's a sort of like mathematical, it kind of breaks down putting a script together in a way that I think is kind of cool. So there's also going to be a lot of other extra stuff. So I hadn't said it on the podcast yet, I don't think, but I had amazing help from Simply Snaps consulting on the script for this Breaking Bad video, and she read my whole entire script, which was 30,000 words, and then I believe read it twice. So thank you so much, Simply Snaps. And Snaps just gave me a lot of thoughts about a lot of things, a lot of points I mentioned. That maybe, either I got something wrong or left out some information. She really provided a lot of insight there. I have never had a script consultant before, but I've just, communicated a lot with Snaps, and it's clear that she knows so fucking much and loves these shows as much as I do. So, yeah, we have similar perspectives on certain aspects of it too. So it was like, yeah, I felt that her insight was very, very helpful, kind of pushed me to think about certain details that either had slipped past me or that I hadn't thought enough about, and really just made a lot of connections that, brought the script to the next level. So I wanted to make the best product I could, for this Breaking Bad video, because it is going to be my one Breaking Bad video. It's possible I changed my mind, but, yeah, I got everything that I needed to say about this video, about this show in one video. So, so I wanted to make sure it was at the highest level it could be. So I hired Simply Snaps, who I would recommend. She was very helpful. If you ever need help consulting on a script, I would definitely hit up Simply Snaps. But yeah, so what else? So we have then Simply Snaps and I talked. Okay, we had this long conversation about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. We talked for like 2 hours on Friday, and that's going to be available for people to listen to. I'm going to wait until I release the video because it I think is the type of thing that it would be weird to listen to before the video. But yeah, that'll be available for channel supporters on YouTube, YouTube members page and Patreon. So yeah, thank you for supporting the channel. If you do, I appreciate your money. It's very cool. I wanna shout out people for giving actual money to this person that I call me, and I spend it on stuff. So I just wanted you to know that like coffee and Wi-Fi. Okay, that was a coffee break. So yeah, I've been doing really well. God, we're already 11 minutes into the podcast. Okay, I guess I said a good. I said worthwhile stuff, I suppose. But yeah, so today has been good. So yesterday I spent 6 hours, recording that script in the booth. I did get outside and hang out with friends after, which was super clutch. And then today's been really good. I got up, I got laundry done already, a full load of laundry. And I also started editing this live stream recording from a while ago where I made music in Ableton, just a software program. Like I was just making electronic music on stream. And I've been meaning to edit that down to something people would watch. And I'm also going to release the music. This is the first time I'm announcing this, a podcast exclusive. I'm going to release this music on the Bandcamp. There's a new album coming. So if you didn't know, there is a Bandcamp for this channel page. I make music on the computer, and I wanted to have a place for that to be available to people who might be interested in music, who follow the channel. And so this is whatstherapy.bandcamp.com. And there is one album out so far, What's Therapy Volume 1 from May 2021, almost 2 years ago. And those are really good songs. I actually do vocals on those, and that's not the case with this new album. It's just instrumental music, which is I think cool. It's really nice to have just instrumental. But yeah, What's Therapy Volume 1 is definitely, it's an interesting experience. Yeah, that song Don't Get Meta on it is like one of the weirder and cooler things I've made music-wise. But yeah, all of those songs really, actually, the first three and then the last one are my favorites, but then the other two are okay. But yeah, anyways, 4 new songs coming out soon on the Bandcamp as soon as I finish editing this video to come out alongside with them. And those will be available for free. You can download the songs for free. Also, if you are a supporter of the channel, you will have download codes available. So yeah, it's going to be called Volume 2. And it's just going to be 4 songs that are very cool and do not have my voice. So you can just enjoy the pretty involved sounds. Like there's a lot of work. Like it's not just on the live stream, because after the live stream I spent tons of hours just tweaking the songs when I was bored and just wanted something to do. Bored is not the right word for it. But so very fun. The songs are called Time to Dive, Legitimate, Have It Then, and Scuba Sliding. So yeah, you can enjoy those. They'll be out very soon. It's fun editing this live stream. It's just so easy compared to like the stuff I do for my main channel. So a lot of good stuff coming out for the channel, and a lot of stuff in the works. This next week, I'm going to spend some of my free time grabbing clips for Breaking Bad, and then next weekend I have a train ride where I'll be able to edit the audio. I'm going to save that so I have something productive to do on the train. And that video will definitely be out in the next month. There's a chance I'll get it out either by or Yeah, there's a chance I'll get it out by like when they release season 6 of Better Call Saul on Netflix, which is April 18th, the 1 year anniversary of releasing season 6 on AMC, I believe. It would be cool to line that up, but I believe that is a Monday or something. So wait, no, that's not right. Yeah, it is right. No, it's not right. It's a Tuesday. So yeah, I don't know. I don't usually release my videos on Tuesday. I'll probably release it on the Friday of that week. Potentially the Friday before. What would that be? The 5th, the 14th? There's a chance I could do it on the 14th. I mean, that's 12 days. Nah, that's not possible. Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna grind too hard, you know. But I thought of like a fun activity. So I've been talking a lot about art on this podcast. I was talking about going to an art museum on this past episode. I've just been very much thinking about art. Just in my free time doing more painting and more drawing. I did a great painting. I think I started this, this past Sunday, I believe. And I painted it with oil and acrylic paints. And so it's like almost finally dry a week later because oil paint takes forever to dry. So I've been having to like move it around my apartment. So I'm never just like hanging out in the same room as like a bunch of oil paint because it's toxic or whatever. But because I've been thinking about art and, that I've been trying to think like, how do I want to be expressing myself artistically with the channel after this Breaking Bad video? Cause I know that I want to do something different. I'm just not sure. I want to experiment with like different ways to use the visual medium of video because I feel like it's a little too like I'm hemmed into like a very logical approach to video making when I'm making like analysis videos of media, and I want to get outside the box. I might buy a camera in the near future. I think that would make me feel more empowered making videos. I have like anxiety with my phone because it fucking this Samsung S21 that like I got for video making, like I don't know, it like works, but it's like sometimes so finicky. And I talked about that in the outro of the last Better Call Saul video. It was being quite finicky. Anyways, I wanted to go through my my videos I've put on my channel as like a retrospective and say how artistic they are. But I don't actually, now that I look at my videos with that idea in mind, I don't actually know. I don't know. It's just, I don't know how to do that. Like if I go back to my first videos, I don't know. My videos as a whole are very much that like logical sort of like argument based thing. And then I guess the artistic side comes in. It doesn't have to be like a visual art video thing, but the artistic side comes in sort of how I structure and present my arguments and my perspective. It's sort of like I just made a YouTube channel to like express myself. And then what I'm talking about now is like, I guess when you're expressing yourself, it's artistic, but it's not like there's not an inherently I don't know if it's always artistic just because you're expressing yourself. Like my video like PragerU is neutral about privilege. Like the inspiration for that video is like I just like was bored and hadn't made a video, I think in like I hadn't made a video in like since my Animal Collective video 3 weeks earlier. like, you have to understand, like, it's interesting. A lot of these videos on my channel, the inspiration for them was just like, I hadn't made a video for a few days, and then I like got some idea. Or one or two of them were like scripts I had already written, like for no reason, and then I was like, oh, I could turn that into like Michael Scott and the Logic of Emotions. I had just been like writing that in my free time. So, but yeah, it's really interesting. I know this section of the podcast like is probably kind of boring to most people, and like I have my qualms about all this stuff myself. Like, I'm like, why am I just obsessing about like blah blah blah, this and that? But I don't think I am with art. Like, I don't think I'm trying to obsess over it. This is just, sometimes you have to embrace the crisis and really just like let yourself ask questions about what you do and why. I think it's a healthy thing. And like, I look at all these other people who make videos on YouTube, and like a lot of them are really fucking stressed out. And like, I get it. Like, you do start to feel like you're locked into like, I have to just produce content for the void. I have to get the views. Now, I just am in a position where there's the idea of becoming a full-time YouTuber is not even on my mind. It's not even conceivable. So I don't even have that on my plate. It's not something I would ever want to do. I would love to make more money with my art, of course, everyone would, but I make my living doing therapy, and I actually enjoy it, and it's like, it's really cool. I like it. So like, I really do use my channel like as just like an outlet, as a way of letting off steam. And it happens to turn into a page. Well, I shouldn't say that. Like, while I'm just sort of expressing myself in these like hyper-focused little pockets of energy, they also comprise these little units of entertainment that are arranged on my page like a Netflix. Like, I specifically make my channel kind of look like Netflix because I like the different playlists, like, where you can just like, it sort of maximizes how many different thumbnails you can see when you go to my page, and there's these playlists. And I might want to arrange it differently in the future, but I had to do something like this because if I just had my videos, like, they're all Better Call Saul, but it like wouldn't explain why. So I have to arrange it, in playlists, so people aren't like, it makes a lot more sense that way. But yeah, if I go through like, I made my first video on July 30th, 2020. I released it July 30th, 2020. So close to 3 years ago, a few months short of 3 years ago. And then just 2 days later, I made a video from a script I had already written about gun addiction. So I already had the script written. So I was just like, I went hard and I made that video. Then the next one, Celeb Culture, I wrote. Wow, that was the next day? Bro, I know I made that one fast. I didn't know I made that one the next day. Holy shit. And then a week later, I put out my video about Grease. That was a 45-minute video that was such an undertaking, and it took like 5 times to upload it because of copyright issues. And you can see the clips ended up like really small because I had to like fuck with them. But that was just less than a week later from those other videos. I was like going really hard. August 11th, video about kids and COVID, and then Reasonable Expectations. That one, I worked so hard on that, but I'd been working on that for like months for just myself. And then Reasonable Expectations when dating. I think I had already written that one too, and that was less than a week later. Portlandia. That one, I might have just like done that one from scratch. Yeah, that was almost not even 2 weeks later from the Reasonable Expectations one. And then Donating Money 3 days later. Wow. It's not a good video, but 3 days later. And then, oh my God, Open Letter to Philosophy Majors is 1 day later? I didn't remember that I did this, y'all. I did not remember that I fucking did this. Like, open letter to philosophy majors. Okay, like, yeah, that's just a bunch of clips in Photoshop and like a voiceover that to a script I had already written. But like, wow. I guess I just didn't have anything else really going on or something. Holy crap. And then literally 3 days later, I don't believe in climate change deniers. 3 days later. Wow. I mean, that one I had also already written. So it wasn't just one or two. There were a bunch I had already written. Yeah, my mistake. Then Leaves Change a few weeks later. I'd been filming that one for a while, editing it and so on in the background. Actually, oh yeah, that's not public. Andrew Callahan's video, October 8th. So that was like 2 weeks later from the Leaves Change video. Yeah, and then I did another Leaves Change video. PragerU's advice on voting. Was that my first PragerU video? Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course it was. I started at the beginning. That was the next day after the Leaves Change video. And then the Steven Crowder video was 4 days later. I did not remember. I remembered like working really hard on these videos and like doing them in short spurts, but I didn't realize the short spurts were so close to one another. Holy shit, the Steven Crowder video was 4 days after the PragerU video. 4 days after? That took a lot of work. Oh man. That was probably like a 10-hour day. I was just like researching and writing. Okay, Leaves Change Part 3 a week later. Wow. 216.5 simple steps. Wait, how much later? That's the same fucking day? That's the same fucking day, October 30th, 2020? I released another video the same fucking day? What the fuck? And then 2 days later, or 3 days later, another video. 4 days later, Cody Johnson video. Less than 2 weeks later, Michael Scott video. Holy shit, I went hard, yo. What the fuck? 2 weeks later, PragerU video. And like, I never go 2 weeks without a video. 4 days later, the Nietzsche video. What? That was like the Steven Crowder video. I knew I worked like all in one sitting and really hard, but I didn't realize it was just like 4 days after another video. Egotistical video 2 weeks later. Amazon GIF video a week later. Dialectics video 6 days later. That video took so long to write, and somehow I managed to release it only 6 days after a previous video. 5 days later, the Not Even a Show video. That's the fucking same thing where I knew it. Wow, I did not realize that was only 5 days after my Dialectics video. Holy shit. This is actually so shocking. I thought this would be interesting. Like, I was like, will this or won't this be interesting to do on the podcast? But I was planning to just talk about art, but like now I'm just really wrapped up in how quickly I made all these videos. Wow. Wait, let me actually look. So on my channel, now they changed YouTube around where they list your handle and your subscribers and the number of videos you have right on your channel page. They didn't used to show the number of videos you have right there. So I have 71 videos. And then if we do days since July 30th, 2020, that's 976 days. So 976 divided by 71. So I made a video every 13.7 days. I released a video since I started my channel every 13.7 days. I know to some YouTubers that's like really slow, but that's way faster than I thought I did. Considering it's been now it's every month or two at the quickest. Wow. So even with making like 8 videos in the last year, which is what I did. I believe I made 8 videos in the last year, which would be a video every 45 days, but we can double check if that's true. But yeah, 13.7 days. Wow. So, and then, okay, so let's keep going. So now we're at January 1st, 2021 when I made the Not Even a Show video, okay? So that's still quite a while ago. 2+ years ago. So then a week plus, I did the PragerU video. Then I did answering questions about therapists 4 days later. That was a fun little video. I'm like, I'm a therapy channel, like after making a PragerU video. Actually, I'm just a regular therapy channel. 1 week later, are there really plenty of fish in the sea? Yeah, that's funny. 2 days later, nature, good or bad. Yes, I'm just kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, but also like coming up with some very interesting, funny ideas while I'm doing that. Less than a week later, PragerU video that now has a good thumbnail. It did not have a good thumbnail before. It's kind of still a bad thumbnail. Whatever. Fallacy and self-esteem video. Very interesting idea. Very cool idea. Sort of trying to make it, be a therapy channel. Yeah, so it's interesting to like look at videos like that and be like, yeah, art. But it's got artistic sides to it. There's no doubt, There's no doubt. Like, it doesn't matter if you're doing that type of, that's an important, I like doing that. I like giving my, like, if it's like, why wouldn't it be art to just because I'm talking about concepts? Like writing has to be about like characters. It can't be about concepts, to be art. Fallacies and self-esteem. Well, it's like psychological. It's more like sort of like, it just borders on like a class where I'm like teaching. But I'm just like, yeah. So I guess it's like didactic or something. Like that's, I think the word, is that the word for what I'm looking for? Didactic. A form of hardcore pornography. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Intended to teach, particularly in having moral instruction as an ulterior motive. What? That's the definition that comes up. That's so funny. Yeah, I guess I do have moral instruction as an ulterior motive with my videos. But yeah, I always shy away from the idea of teaching. I don't really think of myself as teaching, even like in my work with clients. But, we might call it psychoeducation, which education is teaching. Like, it's just, you can't, I don't know. I used to get more hung up on words and stuff. And it's just like, at the end of the day, like, it's just a word, teaching. And like, yeah, I like to do the sort of Socratic method of asking a lot of questions, but it's still a form of teaching and learning. An idea I had before even like starting a YouTube channel, an idea that sort of like preceded the idea of the YouTube channel in a lot of ways, was to just like teach at a school, like a college or something. And I can't do that yet. I just don't feel like I would want to yet. But it was like something I thought about. And then I was like, oh, why, would I want to do that? Why would I? Why wouldn't I? And then I like thought about, if I did, how I would want to like structure a class. I would just want to teach people about therapy, was what I was thinking. Like, but like I would like to work. That would be cool to work in a program where I actually do try to like teach people about therapy. Like, because I'm relatively new to the field. I've only been a therapist for like 5 years or so. I've been a social worker for like 8 or 10-ish years or so, like 8-ish years or so. So it would be weird to like teach, but I do like how it sort of forces you to figure out your own ideas about something when you teach it. It makes you sort of really figure out like, well, what do I think about this? How does this work? And that's sort of what led to the idea of like, what's therapy? The idea of like really being like, what is therapy? But the class I thought I would teach would be called something like, not like how to learn therapy. I don't know, something like learning therapy, or, how to wait. I don't know. Some idea of just the idea that like we're here to learn therapy. Because I just like emphasizing the learning side rather than the teaching side, I guess. But, you might say if you're learning, something's teaching. But I think, yeah, I guess I think like part of what I wanted to do with the YouTube channel also is like publicize aspects of like mental health and therapy, and really, yeah. So if I really do think about it, like if I think about like the way I make art, you know, I'm someone who's been making art for a while, whether I'm making art on the computer in Ableton, music wise, or I'm painting, you know, like I've done both, you know, in the last week. It's like, that's, I want to say it's like a different state of mind from, I don't know, from like saying, oh, I want to like give my perspective on how to learn therapy. But like, I don't know how different the state of mind really is at the end of the day. Because even when I'm like painting or doing, you know, music or whatever, like you're still just your regular self, like in your normal mind state, you know, unless you're like taking psychedelic drugs, you're still just like yourself doing something. It's like a chill activity to be doing, but it's not like a different reality. Like the idea, you know, when you're making art, it's just, it can be so many different things. It doesn't have to have any sort of certain emotional tone or aesthetic. I guess is what I'm trying to say to myself. I don't know why I'm trying to say that to myself. I guess I'm really just, I'm having like a midlife crisis but it's like a very, very mild one where it's like not even a big crisis, but I've been sort of motivated to think harder about where I want to go now after finishing this enormous undertaking. Like, I didn't release any other videos besides Better Call Saul videos in the last year. Okay, let's get back into it. So we looked at Fallacies and Self-Esteem. That was February 10th, 2021. Then just 3 days later, I released my Arrested Development versus Schitt's Creek video, which took a ton of work. There's no way I did all that work in 3 days. Like, I guess I just had... Oh, the Fallacies one was a much smaller one. Well, that was actually... The Fallacies one was... I was collecting those ideas for a while, and then actually making the video was extremely low effort. The Arrested Development one, I think I might have also been collecting the ideas in the script for a while, and then making the video was a big effort, but it might have just been able to line up that way because only one of them was a big effort. And then 4 days later, How ERCOT is Screwing Texans. That was a huge effort, and I actually stayed up super late because that was extremely time sensitive. Unlike most of my stuff, unlike almost all my videos, that one was about a current event, how the energy grid in Texas was screwed up from the horrible way their government functions, and how that was a huge cause of unnecessary suffering during these really wildly climate change related cold weather days that they were having in 2021, February 2021. So I was really proud of that video, and it did really well for the channel for the time. It has 749 views now, so in retrospect, you know, but that Fallacies one has 360 views, so it's okay. You know, that's just how a lot of the videos are. Like, that's just the audience for something like that, and that's fine. My channel, we're starting to get an understanding, you know, of what my channel is. This is this podcast episode should be called What's Therapy, because that's what we're understanding here. And then the Daily Wire video, which took a ton of work, but that was, oh wow, that was 3 weeks later. So that was a big, from ERCOT to 3 weeks later, I guess I felt like I could take a break. And then, yeah, the Daily Wire video, which took a ton of work and writing. And that was sort of like a little bit of a next step for the channel in some ways. It was like using the sort of vibe of the Arrested Development video. You know, I'm off camera. I'm comfortably. Oh, yeah. It really was next level. Cause then there's the What's the Meaning of Life video, which is like 2 weeks later. That was a nice little one. Just a tiny one. And then the Animal Collective video, like a week later. This is about 2 years ago. And that was a huge undertaking, a lot of work. But yeah, sort of like getting into a little bit better quality video essay territory. Then a PragerU video, which is fine. Allstate commercial versus BreadTube video, which is like a meme video. I guess that was the first meme video for the channel, right? Well, not really. Not really, because there was like the nature video that was kind of meme. But this is the shortest meme video, 28 seconds. And then the mental health subliminal video, which was an interesting choice to sort of make a critique of mental health subliminals. I don't really know if it's good. I think I did an okay job. I think I have a point. Psychoanalyzing Trump's COVID press conferences 4 days later, which was an enormous undertaking that I did over months. I think it took a lot of work, and it's a certainly interesting product. That might be the most artistic video on the channel, and it's funny that it's like very political. I mean, just the process of turning all those notes from those press conferences into that video. And then just I really did find that presentation style for the video. That was very unique, to be filming myself sort of like tampering with this painting over the course of the whole video. And the painting just happened to look like Donald Trump, but I did that painting years earlier. That painting was not about Donald Trump. It just happens to look like him. So I made it the thumbnail and made it the whole video. And then I was just like, oh, what if I fucked with this painting? And that, I think it was definitely a very interesting concept. And that's what sort of gives it an artistic vibe. So that's definitely the most artistic one so far out of all the videos we on the channel so far. I mean, I don't know what would be the 216.5 simple steps for eternal happiness is definitely got like an artistic vibe to it. I guess there's like an irrationality sort of, not that art needs to be irrational, but there's like a piece of irrationality that I think I do require when there's so much rationality. Yeah, wow. Okay, so yeah, that's probably, and then 2 weeks later, mental screensavers, a fun little idea I had. Sort of the therapy vibe. Then intrusive thoughts are canceled. How much later did that? Wow, from May 28th to June 3rd. So less than a week. And then the Onion video in 1 week. Then Lauren Southern video took 2 weeks. But yeah, it was all right. It was kind of worth it. Not really. 2 weeks later, tips for therapists. Under a week later, how does AI visualize therapy? That was a fun little one. I mean, that's art, but it's like my video's not art. Like I'm not saying my video is not art. It's just my video is much more didactic than it is art, and that art itself is very cool, but I'm just presenting the art. It's like a museum is not. Well, a museum can be art if the architecture style of it is very cool, but a museum's not automatically art just because it has art in it, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, then the Rob Rousseau video, 3 days later, that's an interesting one. 2 weeks later, why blame Lauren Southern for terrorism? That was a good one. Oh yeah, I also went to a friend's wedding in between, right? Oh no, that was before. I think. No, wait. That must have been. I don't remember exactly. Anyways, then a full month later, before the Organs of Sense video was finished, because that one was so much work over the course of over a year, and it really came to a head where I gave it a lot of attention. Extremely proud of that video. I interviewed the author, Adam Ehrlich Sachs, which is that interview's on the Patreon, publicly available also on the Patreon. You can make post public, and I made that public because I did an exclusive interview with the author. I got him to say some really interesting stuff, and I was super. It was like, I mean, that video is definitely the most artistic one. It's more artistic than the Trump press conferences one. Like, it's just, I put so much into that, and even though it's me on camera explaining stuff, I'm explaining fiction, and I'm explaining it in such a way that there's so much. Okay, so it's philosophy. Sometimes I just have to admit to myself, like, sort of what I'm doing with this channel is sometimes just philosophy, you know? Like, I'm just telling you, hey, here's what I think about the world, and, like, you know, here's what I think about the human condition, and so on. Okay. So then I did a painting video under 2 weeks later. Then I did the Adam Sandler video. A few days later, 4 days later. Then the My Little Pony video a week and a half later, which took this channel to the next level. That video now has 93,000 views. Yeah, so it skyrocketed. So that was awesome. A lot of new viewers. A week later, I posted 30-second clip of the Dave Chappelle comedy special, just him sort of demonstrating his lack of critical thinking. And then 2 weeks later, 2+ weeks later, the Willoughby's video. That was some hard work. That was fun. Sort of getting more into media, saying, hey, I could just choose a movie and analyze it. You know what I mean? Like I did with My Little Pony. Then School of Life video. I was like, I'm ready to do a School of Life video. Nepomniachtchi chess video. Okay, so these are just, the School of Life video was over 2 weeks after the Willoughby's video, so I'm giving myself time. Then the Nepo video 2 weeks later. So I'm really chilling at the end of 2021. I do another School of Life video in December, and then at the end of December 2021, I did the Immaculate Conception of Little Dizzle. That was a lot of fun to dig back into one of my favorite movies and write a whole script about it. Very proud of that video, and a lot of people have seemed to enjoy it, surprisingly, because it's a very unknown movie. But I'm super proud of it. There's no way there are other video essays about this movie. I'm just so happy to have really tackled this thoroughly deserving, amazing movie. Okay, then another painting video, then my music video, and then we get to the Better Call Saul videos. So now it is February 18th, 2022, and I released the first Better Call Saul video. Okay, so that's about 14 months ago, the first Better Call Saul video, 13 and a half months ago. And then exactly 1 month later, on March 18th, I released a second Better Call Saul video. And then a little bit less than a month later, the third Better Call Saul video. And then a month and a half later, on June 3rd, 2022, the fourth Better Call Saul video. And then 1 month later, the fifth Better Call Saul video. And then almost 2 months, 1.5 months later, the sixth Better Call Saul video, Real Redemption. And then a month and a half later, on November 18th of this past year, the seventh Better Call Saul video. And then a month and a half later, on January 6th of this year, the eighth Better Call Saul video. So literally in the last calendar year, okay, I've only released part 4, part 5, part 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus some bonus content, of course. But I've only released those 5 videos on the main channel, and I have the streams and the side channel, and I do so many other stuff. I'm not trying to say I haven't been working hard, but it's just so funny to think how much effort and energy I've put into the Better Call Saul series, that literally in the last calendar year, because part 3 came out on April 15th and it's only April 2nd now. I've released part 4 through 8. So that's 5 videos. And, yeah, it's good though. The great thing is they hold up and people still watch them later, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in 2 weeks when, season 6 drops on Netflix and I released this Breaking Bad video. I don't know what to name the playlist that's on my, channel. It's called Better Call Saul series now, but when I want to add the Breaking Bad video to the same playlist, but I don't know what to call the playlist if I do. I don't want to call it Gillaverse. I don't know what to call it. Okay, anyways, moving on to other stuff. So that was fun, right? We just went through the whole channel and we said, we just tried to learn about what my motivation has really been in making this channel. And I guess what we learned overall is sometimes I guess what we learned overall, to be real, is I clearly went into this YouTube channel. I said it's hard to really draw a distinction between artistic states of mind and just normal states of mind. And I agree with that. But I think it also needs to be said, there still is a difference. There are some differences between how I went into this channel and how I might go about saying I just want to do a painting, or even to make a video. I guess the fact that I want to give my logical thoughts about things means that like there's just going to be a lot of that. And like the art is not diminished because of that, but it's sort of shaped around it. Because I don't think that itself is art. Like, I don't think it's just, that's not how I think of art, for me to be telling people what, like, about, like, psychological terms and, like, explaining, like, why it could be harmful to partake in certain fallacies in relation to your sense of self. You know, like, that's not art. That's like philosophy or psychology or just didactic, like, communication. I just don't think all self-expressive communication is necessarily how I think of art. And I'm just trying to work this out verbally on the verbal journal. So I guess to sort of conclude that, like, so, you know, there are some differences, and this has been, I've really, really gotten better at how I make video essays, down to even such things as how I record audio, like yesterday. I mean, having my booth and stuff, like, I am definitely getting technically better, and I'm getting better at writing for videos. I really had a great time with this Breaking Bad script. I told you I wrote the whole thing by hand. I've mentioned that on this podcast. That's what I mean by I told you. I don't mean to talk to you personally. I don't know who's listening. But, you know, I wrote the whole thing by hand, and then I typed it up. I just really embraced, like, that made me feel more like it's art. Like, slowing down and writing it all by hand, slowing down and editing it multiple times through, making sure it's actually how I want it to be. And now I still have a lot more work to do, but even when you put together the clips and stuff, it does feel artistic. It definitely does. I'm not trying to say it doesn't. It's just the explaining things is not inherently artistic to me. So I want to spend more time in my life generally outside of the YouTube channel just doing stuff that feels more artistic. And then I think that is helping me sort of frame, and where do I want to go with this channel now that I've finished a 14-month. I'm sorry, I haven't finished. I feel like I finished because I just did the hardest part of the Breaking Bad video. But, you know, I'm coming up on finishing a 15-month project, basically. And it's completely changed my YouTube channel in terms of its reach. And I inherently know that a lot of people who watch the channel will not be interested in other things I cover, but I know other people will. And the important thing is that I, you know, stay inspired. But after looking through all those videos, I can see that that's a lot of work that I did over a relatively short period of time. The fact that I can make a let's see. Yeah, the fact that I can have under 2 weeks as my average video time over, you know, the last 3 years or 2.5 years, despite the fact that I only made 8 videos in the last 14 months, is really, really bizarre. Because if you do 14 times 30, that's 420 days. Nice. So 420 days divided by 8 is 52. So I put out a video every 52 days. My last 8 videos, each one came out on average 52.5 days away from the last. And still, my whole channel has under 2 weeks. That just goes to show how fucking fast I made a lot of those videos. And that was a mistake. There was no reason to do that. Wow, that's wild. I actually did work a lot less back then, though. That is actually true. Now I'm seeing like twice as many clients, or almost. I saw like 17 clients last week, and I didn't even work on Friday. So 17 clients in 4 days is over 4 clients a day. Back then I was seeing like 10 clients a week. So it was like two clients a day. It was absurd. I was just like sort of getting by in the pandemic for a period of time. So it's been really, really great to work more. I'm seeing a lot more people. It's energizing. I'm making more money. I'm supporting myself better. And yeah, just taking care of myself and living my life and having a lot of free time for art and writing and projects, and yeah, but a lot more things to come. Okay, what do we have to do now on this podcast? We have a few more things to cover before we close out. So, screen time. We always go over my screen time. I like going over my screen time because I find it to be a funny sort of thing because it comes in on Sundays and I do the podcast on Sundays. So last week I used my phone. This is just my phone's screen time, which is not my major screens at all. I used my phone on average for 26 minutes a day, which was the total amount of screen time over the course of the week was 1 hour and 3 minutes less than last. Wait, I'm sorry, what? Oh my God, no, it's not the total. Oh yeah, last week was weird or something. Yeah, because no, my 26 minutes daily average screen time this week is 1 hour and 3 minutes less than last week's daily average. So I had over an... See, this happened before. I click away from it and then I don't know how to get it back. I don't know how to get it back. Okay, how do you get the screen time thing back? Wow. Screen time. Screen time. I'm searching screen time. Digital well-being. Here we go. I found it. Come on, you gotta... Okay, here we go. Click on that. Oh, there we go. I fucking figured it out. Wow. Okay, so now we're never going to lose the screen time thing again. Takes a lot off my plate. But I don't know how to go back to last week. Like, they should make that very easy. You know, they like seem like they would. It seems like it's very possible to do here. And they just don't. There's no way to just go to last week. Wow. Okay. Well, I'll just take their word for it. Anyways, yeah, I use my messages app the most, and then Lee Chess, and then my phone. Wow, this is the worst segment ever. Okay, another update is let's look at the mailbag. So we do have a mailbag. You can send an email into verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. People do not email in very much, and no one emailed in this week, and that is totally understandable and fine. No worries. No worries at all. Next thing, I would just want to say I will not have a podcast next week because I'm visiting family, and I will be back the week after. So we'll take a week off. It's been a great 11 episodes, and we'll take a week off. We'll come back for episode 12. And the last thing to say is, so I was talking about how I'm, a big Kyrie Irving hater. And I was talking about how I was really watching them lose and hoping that the Mavericks don't make it to the playoffs. And it's been going just so well on that front. I mean, they did lose that game that was going on while I was while I was recording the podcast last week. They did end up losing that game, and they lost last night against Miami. While the New Orleans Pelicans won over the Clippers, and the Pelicans are like one of the teams that Dallas has to sort of contend with. So Dallas is currently slated to like not make the playoffs unless a lot of things change. So that's going great. And I just hope, the universe sort of punishes Kyrie Irving for being pretty unapologetic anti-Semite, which is the worst kind of anti-Semite to be. So this has been a great episode. I hope you've all, and the Major League Baseball season has started. I'm really excited about that. I'm in some fantasy leagues, one of them with my friends. I just really do enjoy watching baseball. It's good to have on while you're painting or something like that. It can just be nice, nice vibe. I'm going to watch some baseball the rest of the day. Maybe do some art. Thanks so much for listening. And if you did, I have very few listeners at this point, but it's still it's a verbal journal. So that's what matters. So, verbal journal out, I guess is what I'll say. Yeah, verbal journal out. This is a podcast or something like that.